Welcome in everybody to episode 20 of our
Biz Rizz.
I'm getting like an actual reaction from my family now, Celeste, when I go back to work on these and edit them. And when we go Biz Rizz, they're like,
We,
oh my
we have to get the
God.
whole family on doing it.
I need the whole family to do it. Yeah, we just need to start going out and having people do jazz hands to it. Okay.
Exactly.
So we have another question coming in from a young gal named Caitlin. Let's take a listen to what that is.
Hi, ladies. I had a question about working just in the media and entertainment industry. I think it's often associated with, being a rat race and climbing the corporate ladder. So, as a woman, what kind of methods do you employ or values you stick by to be your most authentic self while growing in such a competitive industry?
Caitlin, excellent question and a difficult one to answer. I think there's a lot of layers to how you stay your authentic self in a very competitive industry. So, super fair to ask. And I'll start just because something came to mind when I heard the question. And for me, in all the years I've been doing this, right? So I probably started working in television in 1997, 98. You can do the math from there. Yes, I'm old. And there's an evolution that happens if you are able to have some lasting power, right? And able to outlast your competitors or your critics or whatever it is. And within that time, what I think is the most important thing to do regarding being your authentic self is to stop trying to impress people. And that goes in so many different levels. And that's not don't work really hard and don't strive to get praise from your supervisors and, 110% every single day. That's don't fall into the I want to be with the popular crowd mentality, or I'm going to do something that I wouldn't normally do because I think it might get me further up the ladder and I might be able to climb that corporate ladder quicker. Anything that makes you uncomfortable in any situation, that's not just in this business but in life. You feel it right in your stomach. You feel it with intuition as to this is wrong, or this is right, or this isn't who I am. And it gets a lot easier to be who you are as you age in this industry because you've started to find your people, you have built a foundation. And those would be the things I would say to Caitlin, start working on that right now. Start finding your people that you can trust. Celeste and I found each other 2001, which was only a few years after I had started working in the business. And put those friends and those colleagues a little bit through the ringer to make sure you can trust them. And if you can, then that's good. They are going to keep you in check if you ever start to go away from your authentic self. And once you get on camera and you're heavily critiqued and dealing with horrific things from social media, it's very easy to try and adapt and change to please everyone. And you have to have kind of the intestinal fortitude to say, I'm going to be okay with some people not liking me, even though they don't know me. I'm going to be okay with people thinking something wrong of me, even though they weren't there. Because I know deep down, I've built a foundation, whether that's your family or your friends or your coworkers, that I can trust, that will tell me the truth, and that will keep me in check if I ever start to stray. And the longer you're with those people, the bigger that group becomes. And it's like it's another family for you. And the less you start to worry about the rat race and about losing who you actually are. The only thing you ever have in this whole world is who you genuinely, authentically are. And the last thing I'll add is, for Caitlin, if you're looking in the mirror and saying, I don't know this person, you're going the wrong direction. You got to be able to see yourself in the mirror every single day, no matter what you're going through, what somebody said, what somebody wrote, what somebody thinks, a problem at work, and say, I know that person. I believe in that person. And I have to look at that person every single day. So I got to be able to sleep at night with who I am and the choices that I've made. That was a little longer than a second.
That was so good, Amy. I'm like, I don't even want to talk now. I'm just going to add a little bit, okay?
Yeah, no, add.
I think you hit the head on talking about support. And I think it's really important to find who your tribe is and who your people are, no matter where you're at. And what I mean by that is really finding people who see and hear you and understand you. Sometimes I know when I was leading my team, they're like, what is this woman talking about? It still happens on Girl Kick all the
I've
time.
said that.
No.
I've said that.
Yeah, exactly. But I think it's, when people understand Celeste speak, or they understand Amy speak, or they understand Adrian speak, and take the time to really understand what the person's saying or what the person's going through. Because, we go through so much in our lives. And I think, as women growing up in the sports world at the era we did and are still in, we had to pioneer a lot along the way. We didn't have other female role models. We didn't know how it was done. And so sometimes, to be quite honest, it was terrifying. And I would sit there and say, okay, am I an imposter? Should I be in this room? Should I be talking? And I think the other side of that is I felt so much pressure to have a voice and to be heard and to be loud and to be all these things. And I think once to your point, Amy, once you get comfortable in your own skin, you don't need to be the loudest person in the room. You don't need to comment if you don't want to comment, right? It's when do you want to contribute? When do you want to fight for something that you believe in? Or when is it someone else's time to really step up? And the other thing I'd say too about, not caring what people think, there were times when I think a really good coach always pushes their team. And there's been coaches I've loved, and there's been coaches that I haven't really enjoyed, but those coaches probably that I haven't enjoyed as much made me the best player that I could have been ever. And so I really push a lot of my team. And there's been times when those people at that time have been like, I do not like you. I don't, love what you're doing. And I'm like, yeah, but I want you to get your full potential out. Like, I believe in you. I know you can do this, and I'm going to keep pushing you. Sorry, but I'm going to do it. And of course, years later, they do come back, Amy, and say, hey, thank you so much for pushing me. Thanks for believing me. I actually do like you now, those kind of things.
I've had a little time to think about it, and I do like you. I know. And I'll add too, like when we're trying to be our authentic self and genuine, are you being that to other people? And I think that's a big part of our industry, especially with women, is are you throwing something up on your social to support someone because it looks good? Or are you throwing something up on your social to support someone because you really believe this is awesome? My friends Julia Morales and Jenny Kavanaugh just made history as the first two females to be doing play by play with press boxes next to each other. And I wanted to just jump out of my house and be, hallelujah, it's happening. And I kind of had this epiphany, like there's a lot of things that happen that aren't happening to you, right? And you're seeing it happen for other people. So you start to compare and contrast and get competitive. And I've had my run of ridiculously incredible accolades covering the Giants. And I'm looking now at like, this is their time, and that my role is to support and advocate. And if you're not genuine about that, you'll be seen. And so it works both ways. Like you want people to treat you as your authentic self, and you want to be your authentic self. Make sure you're putting that out into the world. And that's going to help you a lot with the competitiveness and breaking down barriers and starting conversations and networking and women helping other women. We just had Dawn Keene on from the Houston Rockets, and she mentioned her boss that should be on the show. And here we go. Now we're talking. Now we're building something and networking. So that would be how I would approach it. That work? Yep. Okay. We're going to get 2 thumbs up. If you have a question that you'd like us to answer on Biz Rizz, please send it in and send it with a video, and we will get you on the show. Until then, keep watching Girl, How'd You Get That Gig, Biz Rizz, and go get that gig.